set and fill it up, cause it'll take a week to get it temperature
I
up.
told John, I said, it's been a long week for a month.
That's when we get a cold spell.
For real. My wife always if they beat Delico over those
I
Kelly
know
showed
still
me
got
something
maybe
the other day,
one
says,
more dog water.
There's nothing
Dog water,
Wednesday,
late.
Friday, like finding out it's Tuesday.
So I can't keep up with all of it. It gets more than one or two, I'm out of it.
I know.
Did they beat Baker County the other night?
I know, me
Clock
too.
somewhere.
They got 8 runs off in the first 2 innings and then didn't get another run.
What's up?
They eventually were
You look at my
just
sunshine in that yellow shirt. Hey, how you doing? Are you surprised?
No.
No? Do you?
Okay, Tommy, what time do you have? You used to be our timekeeper.
I can almost feel bad to big yellow. It's 5 o'clock.
Okay. Good to see everybody. We'll start our meeting with the opening of the Lord's Prayer, then the Pledge of Allegiance. All stand. Lord's Prayer. All together. Our Father,
who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread. Forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. Lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, power, and glory forever. Amen.
Pledge. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call.
Commissioner Hughes.
Present.
Commissioner Mosier.
Present.
Commissioner Richardson.
Here.
Commissioner Jinks. Commissioner Stutz.
Okay, noted all is present. Minutes were in your packet. Hope you had a chance to look those over. Do I hear a motion? We approve the minutes from April 22nd, 2024.
So moved. Second.
Any discussion? If not, all in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed likewise, motion does carry. The recorder has a report on the distributions for March. Jessica?
General Fund, page 1, towards the bottom, you'll see we made a purchase of $24,880 to Ag Central Co-op. That was for 2 mowers as budgeted in the Parks and Recreation Department. Just below that, $9,157.64 was fuel purchases for the month. That does include the Board of Ed, who of course repay their amount. Page 2, I just wanted to point out we paid Brent Miller $367.10. He took our very first mayor, a portrait that's hanging in the hallway, and had it reframed with glass put over it to kind of preserve that oil painting. And it's now hanging in the hall if anybody would like to see that as they go out. So we reimbursed Brent for the cost of that. Building controls, $2,760. That was to secure the properties that we purchased from SUB and put locks on either of those and code entries. Towards the bottom of that page, Mitchell, Emmert, and Hill, $16,700 we paid to the auditor. That was the final payment to them for last year's audit since they've completed that. $29,516 to Spectrum Electric. That was all on the railroad grant, which added the lighting to the backside of the parking lot downtown. On page 4 in the general fund, $5,000 to Main Street Studio Architects. That's a payment on the community center drawings. On page 5, $300,000 was transferred out of the checking account into LGIP just for a little bit higher interest rate on that, into that investment account. So that's just a cash transfer. Further down, Rural King Realty, $18,955. Rural King appealed their tax assessment, and they were victorious in that, and the state reappraised them. So we had to refund them a portion of 5 years of property taxes. So that is the combined total for the reevaluation as determined by the state. $12,400 to Spectrum Electric. That was for the improvements made at the Main Street Marketplace to add more power for vendors and barbecuers down there. Nothing very significant in state street aid, some general equipment maintenance. Nothing significant in drug fund. In the tourism fund, we made a payment of $11,375 for DMA events. That is for the final mural of the year, which is in part funded by a Tennessee Arts Commission grant, and that's the mural that hasn't been started yet that'll be going on the north end of downtown. So that's 50% down to get the artists going. And we should be seeing that one at the end of May. So all of that area is going to look really nice. In solid waste collection fund, our garbage payments to Waste Connections for residential garbage pickup was $23,873.44. Any questions?
Okay, is there a motion to approve?
So moved. Second.
Any discussion? If not, all in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed likewise, motion does carry. We have no one registered for any public comments. We will open the public hearing to take comment on the amendment to the landscape ordinance. Is there anyone present to make comment on this item? Okay. Public hearing is now closed. In old business, we will have second and final reading on ordinance number 1036, amending the Sweetwater Municipal Code Title 14, Section 404, 2J, the landscaping ordinance on second and final reading. We went over this in our workshop, and I think we discussed it fairly in length. Do I hear a motion to approve?
I make
Go ahead.
I make a motion for approval of ordinance number 1036 as amended in our municipal code.
Okay, do I hear?
Second that.
Motion's been made and second. Roll call vote.
Commissioner Hughes?
Aye.
Commissioner Mosier?
Aye.
Commissioner Richardson?
Aye.
Commissioner Jinks? Commissioner Stutz?
Aye.
Okay, the motion does carry. In new business, the chairman of the Historic Zoning has requested a vacancy on their board be filled by Angie Kyle. Term expires June 30th, 2025. Is there a motion?
I make a motion to appoint Angie Kyle to the Historic Zoning Commission.
Second.
Motion's made and second. Any discussion? If not, all in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed likewise, motion does carry. We're happy to have with us Larry Rodders and Thomas Millsaps. They are here to provide us an update on the 150th celebration of the city of Sweetwater will happen next year. So I'll, Larry or Tommy, either one, I'll give you the microphone at this time and let you fill us in.
Thank you, Mayor. Commissioners, it's good to be with you all this evening. I appreciate an opportunity to spend a few minutes of your time tonight to provide a brief update on the Sweetwater 150 Celebration Committee activities. On 8 December 1875, Sweetwater officially became incorporated as a town in Monroe County, Tennessee. Today, we're here to share with you an update on our plans for commemorating the 150th birthday in 2025 through a year-long celebration. We have a clear mission to organize a diverse range of engaging events and activities that highlight the city's 150 years of heritage. To achieve this, we formed subcommittees to plan an extraordinary year-long celebration. Throughout 2025, we'll be hosting various events, including a candlelight kickoff in January 2025, music concerts, tours, historical moment videos, road races, veterans recognition, and participation in parades. We will conclude with another candlelight activity on 8 December 2025, which coincides with our charter signing date of 8 December. Our signature event will be a multi-day old-fashioned style fair in September 2025, featuring music, agricultural events, car and tractor shows, and a Ferris to the Fair pageant. We're also developing a 150th commemoration photo book under the talented guidance of Mr. Tommy Millsaps, coordinating sponsorship with local merchants, and creating merchandise to promote our celebration. We're actively engaged with the community through social media on Facebook and have a dedicated event website at www.sweetwatertn150.com. I invite you to watch those spaces for updates as we prepare our celebration. Thank you for your attention, for your unwavering support. The committee recognizes that none of this would be possible without your encouragement and assistance. A heartfelt thank you also goes to the incredible Sweetwater Hall city staff, whose dedication and resources have been invaluable in making this planning process a positive experience. Together, we look forward to bringing Sweetwater's rich history to life through this momentous celebration. Personally, as a longtime resident of Sweetwater, I'm deeply honored to participate in the celebration planning process. Your support means the world to us. I'm excited to see the impact of our collective efforts throughout the coming year. Thank you again for your time and support.
Thank you, Larry.
Thank you, Larry.
It's always a pleasure and a challenge to go after Larry Rodgers because he's so well prepared. And I would just reiterate, thank you guys. And it's a little sad for me. I've not been here for a city meeting in about 4.5 years to stand here and not see Billy Wayne and Buster, and I'm going to have to process that. But I'm very thankful for and Chief Watson, very thankful for the ones of you that are still here working away and taking care of us. And believe you me, the city of Sweetwater is the envy of a lot of places. They look to Sweetwater to see what we do. And, you know, a lot of towns could look at old pictures and see their downtowns vibrant back in the old days, and today they're not. Well, you go through Sweetwater on a Saturday night, and you can't go through Sweetwater on a Saturday. You know, you start taking they just go to show you we've come full circle. You look at all those days of horse and buggies, just downtown crowded, and we're back there. You know, well, who can say that? But again, thank you for your time, and I'll be quick. There's baseball games and graduations. But one idea we all had, and what I'm working on, is a pictorial history book. People love old pictures. Sometimes I'll put them on Sunny in Sweetwater or something like that, and it just triggers memories, and people just love looking at pictures. And I've gotten so old, I do now too, and I can kind of remember some of the old stuff. You know, it's sad that we lost our greatest historian, Joe Sherlin, but we have Larry Anderson and quite a few others, so we're all working together, Brent Miller. But what it is basically I'm working with the radio station 98.3 and the city to produce a pictorial history book. It's not a genealogy or a written history. That's been done by Sarah Sands years ago. But this is something to be fun and quick. You know, hopefully a picture's worth 1,000 words. And just something that the old folks, we can enjoy looking at it and kind of teach our new people. I was at a meeting here just by accident a few weeks ago, and I counted about 36 people, and I knew 10 of them. I knew 10 out in 5 years. That's how much it's changed. So hopefully this will be something that our new residents can, you know, kind of share memories with us. But I'll get on. We got graduations and baseball games. This picture, and I got this from the Sands collection, Sarah Sands book. It's one of the first, if not the first, picture of the old downtown of Sweetwater. You can see the railroad tracks there and the stock pen. This is just the kind of things we're going to have. We're going to have very old pictures and some modern ones. This is a lamplighter in the 1800s, and I've got his name back at the office. I forgot.
Keela Orr, is that his name?
It may be. I think it is. It's good. I've meant to write it down. Here's a picture of just a group of citizens going to the World's Fair in 1883. There's just a lot of neat things when you start hunting. There, John Anderson probably knows that. That's one of the buildings after the big 1905 fire. That's a 1906 celebration about a year after the fire. July 4th. Maybe the firemen were using the water hoses back then. I don't know. And that's there's a lot of pictures of the early street work in Sweetwater. We'll dedicate that to Buster. Sweetwater was a mill town, railroad mill town and creek town. And there's quite a few pictures of the mill workers. Some of them are pretty young, aren't they? And we've got a bunch of pictures. We're going to go by decades, and we're going to try to have pictures of the downtown in each decade so people can see. There's the 1920s, Guthrie, Bradley, and Jones. There's the 1930s. Sometimes it changes a lot, sometimes it doesn't. There's one of the tornadoes that hit Sweetwater, hit one of the mills in 1933. So it does happen. There's their equivalent of Eddie Byram around 1940, a police car. It's changed a little bit, hasn't it, Eddie? And we'll have some of the fire truck too. It is very there's a neat picture of the High Point High football team. Look at that. We've got some pictures of High Point, 1951. I didn't know about the crawfish community. Larry Anderson had sent me down, tell me about that, but I didn't really know much about it. But over towards where the visitor center is now, flooded badly in the '60s. Not a happy place. There's the old fire hall. We've come a long way since then. One of my favorites is that Notre Dame's JV team came down here and played TMI in 1981. A lot of people don't remember that, but I went to it. There was the gold helmets and everything. Good trivia question. And the blizzard of '93. Some of us remember that. But we'll have, a lot of it's going to be cultural things that people saw cops and things. People go, well, I remember that. And there'll be some governmental things like that. There's Clinton Riddle, who's no longer with us, when the bridge was dedicated for him. But there'll be probably have to be about 200 pictures or close to it to fill it up. So I think people have fun browsing through it. And just working away. It's a lot of work. At the newspaper, we did a book, and we had about 4 or 5 of us, and I foolishly volunteered for this. But I'm starting to get help. A lot of people have been busy. A lot of my helpers are coming on board, so hopefully we'll pick up the pace. But thank you. I hope it's, it will be sold to the public, and Jessica's been very adamant about it being something that, fun for people and making it affordable. So, the citizens can get it. She's not trying to build a bridge off the proceeds of water. It's supposed to be something fun that everybody has access to. But thank you, and email me or call me. We're always looking for pictures. Larry Anderson brought me these. Jessica's got my email, or anytime you find something. I may not have seen it. There's a lot I'm learning more than anybody. There's a lot better historians than me, but it's a learning process. But thank you very much.
Thank you, guys.
And John also has his box car.
I'm a relatively new resident of Sweetwater, but the wife and I plan on dying here. You have to drag us out kicking and fighting. One of the things we're going to have is what we call the Sweetwater Stakes Boxcar Derby. I'll put it on the garbage can. And in the can. We're going to have this on a Saturday for children. It's I'm calling it zero profit, zero cost. We'll hopefully break even on it. It works by gravity, goes downhill. The way this sits is about $200, relatively cheap. We also have planned if there are underprivileged kids who want to participate, we start slapping sponsor names on them. Like we'll say Valley Building could maybe say we'll sponsor one. They can put their emblems on the side of it, so that way nobody gets left out. That's all I have.
John's going to be visiting the Boy
Boy Scouts,
Scouts,
Girl Scouts, and schools.
the homeschool co-ops, and trying to get some participation in this race.
Will you be making these for the kids, or can somebody make one themselves? And
I made this myself, and I'm not a carpenter. So they dad. I'm hoping that they say if a child and dad sit down at like 8 o'clock Saturday, they'll be done by 4 o'clock on Saturday. It's not that hard to make.
right.
All the metal comes in a kit, and then it's just plywood. And they give you the cutouts, and you just cut it out, put it together. So I'm hoping it can be a dad-son project and a family type afternoon some Saturday.
Where's it going to be? Where are you going to have it?
Let's see. That's the other thing I was going to tell
May-
you.
We're looking at maybe starting somewhere near the hospital because you need a downgrade and going down to Main Street.
Didn't they used to have those on Mays Avenue?
McCaslin's one of the ones we talked about because it comes from the other. So. But yeah, the date for that is tentatively set for Saturday, July 19th of 2025. So this is in your packet, and this is kind of the timeline of all the activities that have been scheduled so far. But I want to thank that committee so much for their work, because they've been meeting every single month for sometimes hours, so for a while now. Last July or August is when we started, so they're doing a great job, and I'm really glad to be working with them.
One of the fun things is, obviously the old timers together, but it was designed to get new people involved. And we're learning about our new residents who moved.
Tommy,
Bill Boxer.
Tommy and Larry both, I got to ask, is there anything that you guys have found so far that you truly just didn't know at all? I mean, a lot of these images are similar, but is there some new stuff that, is there one thing that pops in your head, just out of curiosity?
Well, this is kind of, I'm old enough that I should know this, but I didn't know a lot about the crawfish community. I knew we flooded this, that, and the other, but, yeah, I guess a lot of it's just jogging my memory. When you see pictures of the old drugstore and how I saw an advertisement, they were standing, some of the owners were standing by
Very cool. Very excited to see the book and all the events. Thank you.
Thank you, Tommy. Thank you, Larry. Okay, we have one bid on the replacement turnout gear for the fire department. This is funded by a donation and insurance recovery. John, have you seen these? Okay, first one is from NAFCO quotation. Has a list of black coats, 14. Black pants, 14 of those. Black pants with suspender, black outer shell. 14 Firecraft Phoenix leather gloves. And shipping for a total of $53,136. This is from Galls, and it just has men's turnout coats, turnout pants, gloves for a total of $9,996.83. And this is the invoice, just tells about the credit. This is from MES, M-E-S, Emergency Multiple Emergency Service, Municipal Emergency Service. It includes jackets, turnout coats for the Sweetwater Fire Department, turnout pants, gloves for a total of $52,136. And the last one is Safe Industries. Jackets. Gives all the description of the liners, trim, so forth. Gloves, pants involved in it. Fire armor, gloves, and so forth, plus freight. $50,750 even. John, you want to look at these, or do you already? Are you and
Yeah, we've already looked
you and Alan? Okay.
No, we want to go with the NAFCO bid.
NAFCO.
Just
Firston.
Yeah, it's a little more expensive, but the quality of the product is just so much better.
Okay, NAFCO bid of $53,136. So that'll give you pretty good equipment protection, right? Okay. Do we need a motion or a second on this to accept it? Do I hear a motion we accept this bid?
I move to accept the NAFCO bid.
Second.
Any discussion? If not, all in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed likewise, motion does carry. The recorder now has the quarterly financial report for us.
Okay, first, Landon's not in here, but I'll brag on him anyway. He applied for a grant to pay for some of the cybersecurity things that we realized we were going to have in order to be able to have cybersecurity coverage. And he received that grant, the very first one he ever applied for. It's around $20,000 worth of grant funding. It's going to pay for some of the cybersecurity training that's being required quarterly. It's going to cover the premium cost on that. So it's stuff that we thought we were going to have to pay for out of pocket that now we're going to be able to fund with the grant. Plus, it's also going to give him a little bit more detection and response software that'll help notice if there's been some kind of breach or something. So I just wanted to tell you about that grant. Also, we've applied for a $50,000 grant for the Biggs house to try and refurbish it. You'll see an amount in the budget for $50,000. That's assuming that we get the $50,000 grant, we would be spending that. So that's a grant that we can apply for quarterly. It's you have to be a Main Street to be able to apply for that grant funding, and it does have to be for a property inside the Main Street district, which the Biggs house is. So we're going to keep applying quarterly for that until we get somewhere with it. And if we
Is that a
see,
matching grant?
It doesn't have a percentage match that's required, but it does ask what the leverage is that the city would give. So we put down $10,000 because by the time we have our crews go in and do some work and some painting and things like, we can probably come up with pretty close to $10,000 in in-kind work. So some of the brick masonry stuff and roofing would have to be done by a contractor. So hopefully the grant will cover that, and then we can kind of do some landscaping and that kind of stuff to add up for the in-kind. Moving on with the quarterly financial report. This is all as of March 31st. And of course, we'll have another one when we close year end, which will be a lot more telling. But at this point in the year, we should be somewhere around 75%. Our revenues in the general fund have come in at 89%. And if I take out the COVID transfer, because that was really just moving from one fund to another, so I don't want it to look inflated, the expenditures are right at 80%. So it is a little bit above the 75%, which is good for the revenues. And not so atypical on the expenditures, because we have so many things that are fully paid up front, like insurance premiums. So they're always a little front heavy. So there's nothing that really concerns me on the expenditure side right now. We're in pretty good shape there. If you'll look at our local option sales tax revenue to date, we've collected $2.6 million, which is right at 72%. But keep in mind, there's like a 60 to 90 day delay on that. So we still collect for this year all the way into August. So that's always a little off. If you look down where it says the comparison, October, we were 9% above last year in October for sales tax. In December, it had kind of slowed a little bit, and we were only about 1.8% above. But now in March, having had a really good November and December again, we're back up to 6.37% above what we trended this time last year in local sales tax. So I do think we will have excess sales tax come in above what we had budgeted on expecting to get. State Street Aid, drug fund, tourism, and sanitation are all at the bottom. Tourism revenue is right on track with where we thought it was going to be. So hotel motel tax is kind of back and firing about like what we think it should. I did put a page in here with the spend plan on the COVID money, just showing you exactly what all's been spent and what the balance left is. As of March 31st, we still have $416,000 and change of the COVID money that's unspent. Of course, the biggest expenditure we made this year was purchasing all the buildings from the utility board. That was all purchased out of the COVID fund. We do still have a couple of payables left to go. We owe the utility board part of that money, which is about $276,000 of that. $5,000 still to pay out to Merchants Association, and then $30,000 at the marketplace, which we will show probably in July or August as revenue in next year's budget, and you'll see a revenue line item that matches up with that. We also have earned around $100,000 in interest off that fund, so we'll be booking that as revenue in next year's fiscal year, and then we'll do final closeout reports. We issued our annual report for the COVID spending plan March 31st, so we've had to do one report a year for that, so that money has been very easy to keep track of and easy to report on. And there's the balance showing the cash amount in the bank, and here's the balances showing all the other bank balances and cash accounts. This is kind of one of those odd months because we still have 3 months left to go in the budget year, so really the next report will tell you a lot more about where we'll end up, but I do think that we'll end up having a little bit of extra money to put back into fund balance at the end of this year in June.
Okay.
Any questions?
Thank you, Jessica. So to sum it up, we're doing pretty good, right? Okay, that's the bottom line. Okay, we have reviewed the draft of the budget. We've talked about this. Jessica has an update on the budget and tax levy ordinance number 1035 on first reading.
So what I've done is ran the numbers that we talked about in the last meeting concerning the library, and I just put an extra library page up so you all can see that. It's changed our amount here. This $162,000 will be what the new amount is for salaries and wages, and then benefits following underneath there, the health insurance amount, TCRS retirement for those who are qualified, per what we discussed in the workshop, which changes the amount the city gives to the library to $217,660. And I think I told you it was around 80. It ended up coming in just slightly less than that. I also assured the library they have a very small fund balance. It's good for them, but it's small compared to what the city's fund balance would be. So I assured them if I have made some kind of miscalculation, or if it's $1,000 off or something like that, that the city would cover that difference if it's related to the benefits that we're adding for them, and not expect them to take that out of their fund balance. They're also going to transition from a monthly payroll to a semi-monthly payroll. So there'll be some work in that in June. There were 2 more requests since the last time we talked. The first one, I think I put both of these in your packet, but the first one is from, well, besides the library, sorry. We did also get a little extra money from the county. They gave around $6,000 more. They increased their contribution by a little bit. So, Tanya, good job in successfully lobbying for that. Sounds like our first district commissioners kind of pushed and helped with
Is
that a
that
little
for the
bit, so that's
library?
good. For the library,
Yeah.
from the county, yeah. So then, the whole county, no, that 6,000 was just for ours, right? Just came to us. That increased just our budget that much. So they did give some to each library. So the total ended up being more than that. I just wasn't, our part is around 6,000, I think. Yeah. Then we got an email from Brittany Jinks, who's over the AYSO program for soccer. For the last 8 to 10 years, we allocate around $1,500 per sport that uses city facilities, in addition to letting them use the facilities and use the concession stands and make money off that. We give them around $1,500 a year that we use for field maintenance. So like baseball and softball, that goes for field dry and dragging equipment and stuff like that. And soccer, it goes for, John can probably tell you better than anyone, but soccer, it goes to maintain the fields, the soccer fields and the football fields. So each sport, you can see right here in the budget, we allocate around $1,500. You can look at the actuals from the last 2 years ago. It always ends up being more than the $1,500. So we have been spending more than the $1,500. But what soccer has made a request for specifically for soccer is their prices on weed spray, seed, and fertilizer have doubled in the last few years. So it's costing them $2,500 each season, and they have a spring and a fall season. So they're asking for $5,000 to keep doing the same spray, seed, and fertilizer that they've been doing for 2 seasons. My suggestion would be if you increase soccer to increase all the sports to that amount, but that request has been made. I have not put it in the budget yet, so if y'all want to talk about that, we can. If you want to talk about it in the workshop, we can, and fix it for second reading. But those are the 2. One of them has already been implemented in, and then you all can talk about the sports and see what you want to do about that.
Why don't we talk
If
about,
we do it for one, we gotta do it for everybody.
why don't we
got the
talk
same
about
problems
this in
going
the
on.
workshop?
Yeah, let's do that.
Okay,
Uh,
that'd be fine.
That way we can, okay.
So, and if y'all are ready to vote on it, we can pass it on first reading and still make amendments in the workshop and change it before second reading.
Okay, Planning Commission recommendation.
Do they want to vote on the budget?
Oh, you ready to vote on the budget? We wanna vote on it now or wait till after?
We can still make amendments. We'll take care of that. The first one here.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
Make a motion for budget approval.
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call.
Commissioner Hughes? Commissioner Mosier?
Aye.
Commissioner Richardson?
Aye.
Commissioner Jinks? Commissioner Stutz?
Motion carries. Planning Commission recommendation on alley closure. John Campbell.
You guys have a copy of this in your packet. It's small, it's maybe hard to see, but it's basically a small 12-foot wide alleyway off of a property on Monroe Street. Westview Cemetery had owned this. Clayton Homes had owned the property on Monroe Street, and so they land swapped them so that the Clayton Homes would have this property on Monroe Street, and the cemetery now has the property running Monroe Street. There was an old alleyway here that was never even opened. It was platted years ago in 1918 and again in 1924. It was never used. It's just open grass, open field. But in order to widen those lots, the lots were originally just 25 feet wide. There were 22 lots, 25 feet wide. So basically, they replatted it to create 6 large lots to meet our standards, to put homes on them. But they do need to close that little lot running through, or that little alley running through lot number 3. Planning Commission recommended it, checked with utility board, they have no use for it, there's no utilities there, they don't plan on putting any there, and it doesn't cause any problems, water, sewer, anything like that, so that's basically what the closure is about.
Do I hear a motion?
Well, John, it's the little,
You might be able to see it better right here, it's highlighted on yours, but it's right here,
it's the
Jim.
little stretch that cuts lot 3 in 2.
That's correct.
It's not this or
It's
that.
not- That's correct,
Okay.
it's right,
Yeah.
lot 3, right there. It's just that little strip that goes right through lot number 3. You'll look on, it's hard to see on your plat, but there's also a wide alley that runs on the back of all of those lots. they have no interest in closing that because it doesn't affect their lots. They just wanted that small enclosed that cuts to the middle of lot 3.
Any more questions? Ready to vote? Do I hear a motion?
I make a motion for approval of ordinance 1037 to close the alley off of Dode Street.
Second.
Motion made and second. Roll call vote.
Commissioner Hughes? Commissioner Mosier?
Aye.
Commissioner Richardson? Commissioner Jinks? Commissioner Stats?
Aye.
Motion carries. We have reviewed the handbook. Is anyone ready to to vote on it? We've had a chance to read it over, kick the tires on it. Everybody happy with it?
Mr. Mayor, if I'm a little concerned, I shared this with Jessica, and I think John addressed it. In the part where we talk about, for the library employee, or it's not, but that's obviously what it's directed to. Think of the 30-hour, it says health insurance and other health benefits. And I know we have, vision and dental insurance. We also have from time to time an incentive program that could be considered a health. I just like to make sure we're all on the same page of what we're including in that category, so that we don't have an employee thinking, where's my dental and vision insurance?
That worked
Because they
30
read it in
hours.
the handbook, and then we said, well, we didn't mean to give you.
Okay,
So
but
and I don't know what everybody else thinks about it.
So would it be more clear if we said regular full-time employment, any throwing out less above 30, and so really we need to remove the and other health benefits on page 18 because we're not actually offering those except to the 40 hours. Like you don't get dental insurance unless it's a 40-hour employee. But you would get health insurance at 30, but not at 40. Is that what everyone wants it to say? Are we good with that? That's how I've done the budget, so.
What?
And that's what is required by the law. Is that what you're gonna ask?
That's what I was gonna ask.
Look at you, yeah, yeah.
So,
What's required by ACA is strictly health insurance, not the dental and vision and all those other
Okay.
policies.
as long as we're meeting federal requirements.
Okay, so I'm just making that
All benefits
change.
are for 40 hours.
so we'll vote with the approval of the amendment on it, right?
It's fine, so if they're ready
Is that
for a motion.
okay with everybody? I need a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Any more discussion? If not, all in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed likewise, motion does carry. Okay, we're adjourned and we will reconvene as the Beer Board. We have on-premises application for Wilbur Enterprises LLC doing business at Sweetwater Market at the Mill to be located at 800 North Main Street, Sweetwater. John, you want to give us
Yeah, I think last time we spoke about this at the workshop, we had some questions. The owner wasn't here, wasn't on hand, that had applied for a beer permit. It's basically retail shops, mercantile, that's the use and occupancy. So we had some concerns, you know, if it's gonna be used as restaurant style. Would there need to be any changes, permits, inspections, and that sort of thing? So Derek Ingram and I walked down there, met with the owner, did a walkthrough, and basically the plan that was laid out to us was, wouldn't involve any structural changes, no framing, no nothing. She would just like to open up the front portion of the marketplace where their cash registers are and put some little dining tables and chairs for our customers that are shopping to serve food. She said there would be no commercial grade equipment. It's all prepackaged food that would be delivered and heated there on site in microwaves and crock pots. The only thing that she would be adding is a sink to an existing kitchen area. Right now, it's just a storeroom, the sink. She would like to put a nicer sink in there. So basically swapping out one sink for another. Said the occupancy would be less than 50 people as far as what she would expect to serve. So, in talking with her, I didn't see anything that needed to be permitted or inspected for the work that she was talking about doing. However, as far as the use as a dining establishment or being able to serve alcohol, I told her, you know, that was up to the beer board as far as that approval. But there was nothing that the fire inspector or myself had that needed to be changed to be able to use it as such, other than some things that he noticed that needed to be done just to bring it up to code from an electrical standpoint. So that's kind of where we landed on it.
What about the health department issues?
Well, she would have to take that up with the health department. I mean, they would have to, I'm sure any other restaurant, it would be the same. They would have to do their inspections and things like that to make sure she didn't have any, that they wouldn't be using any kind of grease traps or anything like that. They do have one restroom that's ADA accessible. That was one of the concerns that I brought up, you know, would you be able to have accessibility? And she showed us they did have that, so. From what I understood, it was basically prepackaged food to eat and serve to her folks that are doing shopping inside there. I don't know how much alcohol, you know, or what type of alcohol she plans to serve. But it was basically heated up and served it.
So what category of our beer ordinance does she fall?
When I discussed this with her, the only one I could see it matching is the one that is for limited service restaurant, which means that the alcohol sales would have to be less than 50% of her gross sales between the alcohol and food. And that was my only concern, is I don't know how much prepackaged snack bar type food you can sell to offset to make sure that you definitely have at least 51% food versus too much alcohol. Because she is not planning on serving craft beer, and that's the only way you can get away with having more alcohol sales than food sales, is if it's primarily craft beer, and that's not her intention, or it wasn't when I spoke to her the last time. I thought she was gonna be here tonight, but I don't see her here.
So if she doesn't meet that 51%, she just loses the license in the future?
It can be revoked if you don't meet the 51%, and her records do have to be available for us. She'll have to be able to prove that she's got so much. And also, if you don't actually open and start operating within 6 months, our beer ordinance says that it's repealed. Like, you no longer have a valid beer permit. So there's a couple of things that she would have to meet that if she didn't, would cause it to be revoked or repealed.
She did mention that this was just a first step. She had future plans for a next phase to actually build out kitchen area and that sort of thing, but she didn't have any plans drawn for that. She just was showing us in the building where she would like to do that. So, I don't know if that will ever happen, if that expansion will happen or not. I just know that she said that was in her plans, was to kind of, this be a starting block and then build out a next phase eventually.
I feel like the last time you talked to us about this, you kind of felt like she was putting the cart before the horse. Do you still feel that way?
Well, at least now I know what her intentions are. It's not to build out a restaurant there that, she'd be framing up walls, putting in new plumbing, electrical, all those things. Like, that was my concern, is she's gonna just build a restaurant there and you got parking and you got all those other things that it's into it. But from our conversation, she intended to keep it very small scale, almost like, and I hate to, I don't speak for her, but what I would think of used to be in the picket fence galleries, in the back of it, they had a few tables set up, they had a little kitchen area, and they just served sandwiches or snacks. That's kind of what it put me in the mind of. But again, that's just my impression of our conversation. She didn't say that. That's just very small, simple, household style kitchen, a fridge, a couple microwaves, crock pots, things like that.
What's the stipulation within our ordinance that must be met as far as?
Well, if you issued the beer permit tonight, she would only have 6 months to get open and operating. And once she was open and operating, she would have to be able to prove that 51% of her sales were food, not alcohol.
Okay.
Or you can say, we're gonna table this and ask her more questions in the next meeting. You all can do either of those things. I would say it's probably not severe enough. We don't need to deny it yet.
That's what I was gonna ask. So this 51% has to be documented
She has to be able to
and
show us
supplied,
that.
even after the fact.
And then just with her having the ability to sell food, she would have to get the health department involved. So I think I would rather table it and see what the health department allows first, because if 51% of it is to be food and 49% of it can be alcohol, and we pass ours, I'm not saying anybody would, but I don't think that's a chance I would like to take.
The only other issue that I discussed with her that I could think of is who's gonna be making sure these people are staying confined to this area while they're drinking alcohol? Are they gonna walk around and shop because you've got connecting buildings? You know, they carry their drink to the next building and then they walk out in the street without, you know, I was just, that was a concern, was like, you know, she, you know, basically said, no, we would keep it confined to this area, but, you know, again, that's just one thing that you gotta consider.
Is it, just bottles and cans, or is she planning on having tap service?
I didn't ask that question, but I think if I'm not mistaken, the one that she applied for is not, craft beers and things like that.
She can serve draft, or bottles or cans under the code, but I didn't talk to her specifically about whether there would be draft or whether it all be prepackaged. So, I'm not sure. I don't really think she was planning on having a server, was that, well, I mean, she'll have to have a server to, but I don't know. Still a lot of questions.
Why don't we table this till we can get her in here and answer these questions?
Okay.
Does that sound okay?
So moved.
Okay.
Second.
All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. All right. Thank you. A couple of things I want to go over with you at this time. The tree board invites us, the mayor and city commissioner, to their Arbor Day celebration on Tuesday, May 7th, Ingeman Park. Starts at 12:45. The fifth graders will be arriving from Brown School. After the Arbor Day proclamation is read, we will present the poetry and poster contest winner, and then have a rotation of 4 stations that'll be set up around the arboretum with the new urban forestry coordinator, and it should be a lot of fun. It always is. You are invited to attend. You're welcome to attend tomorrow at 12:45. Then we've got a invite by Dawn Schnoher. Is that close enough?
Sure.
That resides in Sweetwater. She works at the Senior Center in Madisonville. They are having a open house on May 15th, 2024 from 9 till 11, and would like to coordinate and invite us, the mayor, city commissioner, and anyone that would like to come. County mayor will be attending, county commissioners, and we are invited. That's coming up May 15th, 2024, 9 till 11. Any questions? Jessica wants to go to the ball game up there. Her daughter is playing here, and so I think we're going to get you up there in time. Anything else come before the board? If not, all minds clear. We're adjourned. Thank you for being here. Is that thunder right here? You're going over up in Mark?
I've got one playing too.
Best of luck.
He's doubled up.